Spider-Man. Could Michael Cera be the next Spider-Man? This may be the case after Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire hung up their web slingers, turning the next Spider-Man film over to a new creative team. Raimi walked from Spider-Man 4 yesterday, reportedly telling the studio that he couldn't meet a summer 2011 release date and maintain the film's creative integrity. While Spider-Man fans hope that Sony will remember that with great power comes great responsibility, the studio is fast-tracking a controversial reboot that sends Peter Parker back to high school. Who are the actors and filmmakers that should be cast in Spider-Man's web? And will rebooting Spider-Man kill the franchise and quite possibly end the comic-to-film era? Face front, true believer. It's The Loop. And joining me now to help us make sense of it all, film editor for HitFlix.com, Drew McQueenie is here. And back to the show again, producer of X-Men Origins Wolverine and founder of GeekWeek.com, Jeff Katz is here, everybody. All right, let's hop into this because the internet's exploded yesterday. Spiderman was trending on the old Twitters because Sony and Sam Raimi have parted ways. What is the dirt? Who knows what? Who's been getting the My Face messages? Who's been getting texts? Who knows?
You want to start from the creative sort of. You're more on the inside sort of script.
Drew, what happened? Creative differences, or does he want that 11:45 time slot?
This is a genuine case of creative differences, where I think Sam Raimi had. He had very specific ideas about what he wanted to do and where he wanted the series to go. And Sony had already been planning that after a fourth film, they were going to start over. So they already had a script ready for a reboot that would take Spider-Man back to high school. And when they kind of hit the wall with Raimi, that was it. They just pulled the plug.
Right. Well, when people hear creative differences, and the online kids, Jeff, they immediately go, well, yeah, Sam wanted to be creative, and Sony can't have that. But is that the case, or is this purely a business decision?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business. And I think that people tend to forget that, well, we've been very fortunate, particularly over the last decade, that a lot of our comic book fare has really gone a bit higher-minded. We've got better class of filmmakers on them. At the end of the day, the cost of doing business on these movies is exceptional. And Spider-Man particularly, when you get to a part 4, options run out on people. You've got to redo new deals. The price continues to go up.
You have to reinforce Kirsten Dunst's cage. Exactly. I mean, there's costs that are built in. She gets stronger and stronger by the year.
That tooth is hard to correct. But at the end of the day, you've got to also remember that when you put these movies out, production is one thing. You've got to go sell them. And the marketing cost on these films now is enough to go and finance a tentpole in and of itself. Right. So there's a lot of factors.
Well, we know that Jamie Vanderbilt, very distinguished, the writer of Zodiac, is penning the script. Should we be worried about that, Drew?
No, I don't think so. And I certainly think there's plenty of room for a high school reboot to work. Brian Bendis with The Ultimate Spider-Man has proven that that's really fertile ground if you approach it right. I just hope they're not chasing the Twilight dollar exclusively.
Right.
And it's not too emo and too ridiculous.
Because we already saw the dance sequence in 3. We don't need a High School the Musical.
It'll be a prom sequence now. It'll be blown out a little bit.
Glee with friggin' spider webs. And that's what I'm worried about. But let me ask you this, Jeff. Is the reboot a big deal to the mainstream? Because, of course, as fans that grew up with comics, that grew up loving Spider-Man, as children of the internet, we feel very passionate about this. But does John Smith know who's helming the film when he goes into the theater? Does he care?
I'll be frank with you. I think to the masses it doesn't particularly matter. At the end of the day, look, we are the interconnected. We are online. We are the hardcore fans. We are the ones that are going to get most up in arms about this. But at the end of the day, let's ask. When this movie comes out, you think that they're not going to go? It's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the star of the movie when it's all said and done.
It has its own font.
Yeah,
you can't ignore it.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's incredible.
PlayStation 3 using it to great effect.
Yeah, it's working out for them.
Yeah.
Now, the director and the cast of Sony, there's signs that the film is going to be great because of that, or because of the rumors that are swirling around. But are they just rumors? We're hearing James Cameron.
It won't be James Cameron.
Won't be James Cameron?
James was involved years ago, and his take is just as radical as anything Raimi ever did. They're not going to look for a guy like that. They're going to look for a guy who's young, who's kind of hungry. I spoke last night with Matthew Vaughn, who directed Kick-Ass, and he said throw his name in the ring. He's desperate to do it if he could get his hands on it. I think it really depends on how willing they are to work within what Sony wants from the picture.
Well, are they going to want 3D, you think? I mean, that's the new trend.
Well,
so maybe they won't go Twilight. But
everybody's chasing that to a certain level. I happen to think that at a point in time, it becomes less special if everybody's doing it, and it certainly adds to your bottom line. I think the biggest thing on the directing front is simply that. I don't think you're going to see a director with a big gross payout. I think part of what this rationale is, not having to pay a star gross, not having to pay a director gross, and going and get somebody, particularly in the Peter Parker role, that you can go and sign for 6 movies and really control your costs.
So you think it'll be a relative unknown?
I'd be stunned if it wasn't, honestly.
Really?
I think we don't know. I think the actors in high school right now probably doing good work somewhere, maybe
I'll
doing
throw
indie
my damn
films.
hat in the ring. No one knows who I am. Let's go.
If it was me, I would certainly go that direction.
All right. Yeah. Well, you would go my direction, you're saying.
Well, no, you're too expensive. I've seen your quote.
That is true.
It's too big.
Just the pomade alone
That's right.
runs deep. Now, we've heard rumors of, who's going to play Spider-Man, and people are freaking out. I've heard Michael Cera. I've heard of Zac Efron. Clearly, those are names. Do you think we might see either of those?
I don't think it'll be either of those guys. I think Sony definitely is interested in Michael Cera for other things. I've heard rumors about Ghostbusters 3, but I don't think that Spider-Man is the right... I think he's actually now at 25. He's a little old for it. I think they are looking younger. I think even a guy like Anton Yelchin, who I think has been groomed for stardom over the last few years, might age out of it before they can get to making these pictures.
What about I don't want to think too far outside the box. What about a CG Haley Joel Osment from Success? That kid is friggin' adorable. Can we just clone him when he was 9? Let's have him do every part?
Certainly a more commercial look back then than today.
Agreed.
No question about that.
Jeff, what's your final prediction for Spider-Man? Is it something you're going to line up to see? Is it something you're still excited for despite these rumors?
I think you're looking again at another $500 million worldwide gross. It doesn't matter who plays the guy. Spider-Man is the star of the movie. It's an international brand, and it's perennial.
Drew, should we all calm down?
I think for now, calm down. Look, if they turn around and they hire, Sean Levy or one of those guys to direct the movie, panic. Feel free to panic then.
Then we will flip a car and set it on fire.
Absolutely.
It's done. Thanks to my guests, Drew and Jeff, for joining us. Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure to have you here and keeping us in the loop. And stick around, people at home. There's more show coming up right after this. I'm still angry.